Hello there. So we're looking at gear considerations when it comes down to now, security forces and other folks that might be going out there where their primary mission is holding security. So two different locations that we've got. You're going to be starting off at your forward operating site, which is really just a FOB, forward operating base. We've got aircraft there, so we're calling it a FOB. But it's the same thing. It's not this huge built up area. It's mostly, tents and generators and things like that. But it's a little bit, it's definitely more built up than those CLs are going to end up like being. So if you are a CL member, you're out there at the FOS. So I'm going to be wearing something like this. Okay, this is just my chest rig. I got 6 mags, medical. I got water. I got some more medical like down here. I got my rifle, and I'm just kind of chilling. Okay, the CL team should not be a part of the FOS team. So if you're security forces, you should not be holding security. You shouldn't be doing anything like that. Crew chiefs, POL, like what have you. The FOS team should be their own separate thing. A CL team, you guys are just kind of like, assigned there. And while you're at the FOS, you guys are just, training, prepping, say we're running battle drills. And really, we're just kind of there to get ready to go off on our next mission. So I'm going to keep all this stuff right here on me because if there is some sort of ground attack, it'd be nice to be able to, hey, I've got my rifle on my stuff. I can jump in like that fight. But this year's just, if you've been to any of the FOBs in like Iraq or Afghanistan, you always had to have, your weapon on you no matter where you are, what you were doing. And just being able to have a little bit more extra kit, I think for me, that's just going to be a good idea. Because I'm sorry, I don't know any security forces guys that hear gunfire and go, oh, that's not going to be my problem. So just something to think about. When we're going out to those CLs, so when you do something initially kicks off, our CL is probably going to be a lot more friendlier territory. So my threat level might not be, hell, it might be non-existent. It might be going to either a friendly host nation base or something like that. Friendly airport in a friendly country. And so if my threat level is pretty small, I don't need to wear my armor, my helmet, the whole time. So I might take that MSV Gen 2 to issue that out to everybody on the CL team. Take that slick carrier, I'll throw that in my ruck, and then I'll just wear something like this. And if they are hey, there is a possibility of, incoming missile attack, something like that, I can go ahead and just throw that, pull that out of my ruck, throw that on, I'll be good to go. But for the most part, if I'm not expecting any sort of contact at all, intel's hey, don't worry about it, so I'm just running a chest rig. And there's a whole bunch that are out there. So I like this one. This is that WCSIG. So I've already talked about the split front chest rigs. They also work out well. Some of the other ones, so the tactical assault panel said there's really no complaints about this. Okay, you've got 6 magazines you can store in here. Throw a radio in there if you need to, and then you got plenty of molly so you can add on whatever pouches that you need to. Just don't overdo it. If you're hey, got an empty space of molly there, but you don't have anything to put in there, that's fine. You don't have to, well, I've got this room, let me add on, 3 MREs or something crazy. This year's just your fighting load. So just don't overdo your molly. And then of course there is still something like the RRV. And one of the things I like about the RRV and Tracer Tactical, their chest rig kind of does the same thing, where you have the ability to actually add on, just a plate. So of course this one right here, you can add on the front plates. You flip the bib up, add a front plate, so it's a lot easier to go from being in a chest rig to having some sort of armor. The Tracer Tactical one with their their H harness that they have that rear plate bag. So there are considerations that you can go for depending on what it is that you're trying to do, as far as do I want to wear a little bit more slick, throw it over a carrier, or do I just want to be wearing it and then unclip the harness, throw a plate on. Really, a lot of it's going to come down to TTPs, what your leadership is going to allow you to do. So I always recommend folks hey, don't go spend $300 on some kit just to have your leadership tell you no, you can't wear that. All right, just, once again, you've got to take into the fact that hey, we are a military force, and there's always going to be somebody who says no. All right. So chest rigs off to the side. For the most part, this right here is going to be our primary bread and butter, and that is just going to be your molly plate carriers. If I am going somewhere where I know that hey, shit's going to be bad. One, if there's a location where hey, there's a lot of enemy forces that are there, it's a really bad area, I'm not going to go set up a fucking CL there, okay? We are the Air Force, we're not the Army and the Marine Corps, we are not landing out there to go pick a fight. We are trying to go somewhere, and we are really just kind of setting up security once again to rearm and refuel those A-10s, that way they can go fuck people up, okay? But if I do know that there's, a threat of missile attack, there is a chance of enemy contact, I'm going to be wearing the plate carrier, that's going to be the only thing. So when it comes down to setting up your plate carrier, so I've seen the JPCs, those have been really taking off. I would say that most of the people that I've seen recently, just about everybody's got a JPC. Of course, there's ferrocons, there's a lot of different chest rigs, plate carriers that are out there, but that's one I've been seeing kind of the most of, which is great as long as you set it up to where you've got the stuff that you need on it. So on this one right here, I've got the ability to carry, so I've got 5 magazines on this. I've got, tourniquet, I've got medical on the bottom, I've got my radio, and I've got my NVGs. One of the reasons why I'm kind of keeping all this stuff here like on like my plate carrier is that I might end up having to sleep in this thing depending on like what's going on, okay? However, if I do decide to take this right here off, I set my rifle and this right here on, I want to be able to, hey, if I wake up because there's gunfire, somebody's waking me up saying, hey, we got bad guys coming, I just throw this right here on, I grab my rifle and I'm set. I will talk about belts later on in a separate video. Got some things to talk about when it comes down to those. But really this year is kind of like that bare minimum stuff that like I need. When it comes down to the radios, not everybody's going to need a radio. In fact, I think that if we're trying to like limit our ground emissions from like our radios, one of the things I might not want to have is my radio on 24/7, just blasting and be able to talk to everybody. We are in a smaller area. You should be able to yell just fine. Use a whistle. There's a lot of things that we can like do, hand and arm signals, but maybe having a radio on 24/7, not really the best idea for that near peer threat. And that's all I can really say about that one. Coming down to the front, so when I went out in this last exercise, I was wearing this right here on the front, so a larger like admin pouch, and really I discovered that I didn't need it. So I have a small book with a zipper like enclosure that I was actually able to put all of like my stuff in. I did throw it in there, but I realized I can just throw that in my cargo pocket. Now I don't need that, so now I'm a little bit like slimmer. This here also opens up space for other things. So if you are a 320 gunner, hey, I've got room here. I can now throw on 6 grenades like right here up front. I grab the belts. If you guys have seen them, so I want to say that a lot of different squadrons have been kind of like buying them like out. I think T3 Gear makes some, Tactical Assault Gear, like they make some, but I've got 12 grenades. You get issued out 18, you're gonna get yelled at. You have to have all 18 on you, cool. I can throw 6 grenades like up here, and then I can go ahead and throw on that belt. Now I've got full, 18 like grenades. But for a rifleman, this here is just kind of like, my basic like go-to for everything. I said this is not complicated like stuff. We pretty much live in plate carriers. We've been wearing them for at least like 10 years now, all across like the force. Just have it set up to where you're going to be able to carry the stuff that you need to. So don't overburden yourself. But as long as you've got ammo, you've got medical, and you've got your NVGs like with you, you can be set for 24 like hours. If there are some things that I've noticed when it comes down to the different like plate carriers that are like out there. If you get something like a JPC like 1.0 and you're trying to throw just a whole bunch of crap on it, they're not really designed to carry that much stuff. So just try to kind of prioritize what it is they need to carry. The SPC is something that I finally got to actually see one like in person. I was actually really impressed with how that cummerbund was. And of course the Ferro Concepts, they have their cummerbund to where same thing. You can run that side armor, but also just like the structure of it. I can wear a lot more stuff and it actually will fit a little bit more like comfortably. And Shaw Concepts, everybody loves their plate carriers. So regardless of like what you have, once again, just set it up for you. Make sure you have all the right equipment that you need like on it. The most important thing is that if I know I'm going to get into a firefight, I'm going to want armor. Okay, so very basic, very like generic. If you guys want like specific loadouts for, hey, how should I set my stuff up if I'm a team leader? How should I set myself up if I'm a rifleman? Go check out the Grunt Perspective on his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of different like legit like straight setups for everything from like machine gunners to infantry leader stuff. I really like his stuff, so I really don't need to cover all of that. I'm just going to direct you. Go check those right there out. So as I said, I hope this video helps. If you guys got any questions, let me know. Put it down in the comments. Shoot me a message. Here to help out as much as I can. Later, guys.